after Pensacola police chased down a suspect.
Police haven't identified the man who died.
More than a dozen Pensacola Police Department and Escambia County Sheriff's Office units here.
In 2010, Tyler John Hinkle was attacked with a knife. His insides were cut open outside a Domino's pizza in Florida. It took nearly 2 years for the police to find the suspect, Gary Harrison. Now you may ask, why did this murder take place? Well, let me walk you through the crime scene first. As you can see behind me, that's inside the Domino's pizza. Once I go through the crime scene photos, I'll tell you the full story at the end. So this was Tyler's car. I believe it's a Ford Focus or something. This is when he was in police custody. As you could see, took place in the state of Florida. Now, at the back, he was 19 years old. So as you can see, the psychology book and his clothes are in the back too. I don't know about you guys, but I never have any clothes in my car. Do you? At the front of the car, there is quite a bit of mess, but that's probably normal for someone young doing deliveries. When I was young, as a teenager, I did do deliveries for Pizza Hut too, and yeah, my car was a bit of a mess. Pretty old phone. What the hell is that? Is that a BlackBerry or is that a calculator? I have no idea. So that I think is a Axe can, a deodorant. If you're watching from the UK, that's a Lynx can. There's a sat nav in the car. Again, this was back in 2010, so Google Maps, Apple Maps, I don't think was so prevalent back then. More mess in the back of the car. As you can see, some blood spatter on the front over there, by the carpet where your feet would be. Mess in the door bins. That I think is a pipe. Is that a marijuana pipe? I don't know. But as you're viewing these photos, keep in mind that as soon as he got out of his car, Tyler, that's when Gary attacked him with a knife, and he inserted the knife into his ribcage. I've deleted all the images of the body and the images that were taken at the hospital for obviously sensitive reasons. But let me tell you, the cut on the side by his ribcage was huge. Is that a pager? I have no idea. What is that? Again, these are just more photos of the car that the police took. So now we get to the actual Domino's pizza itself. So as you can see, police tape everywhere outside the Domino's. So he had parked, and I think he was about to pick up. I think he was picking up a delivery to take, although I'm not too sure on that. This is in Escambia County in Florida. So this is where his car was initially parked before the police took it. And as you can see, the numbers over there, number 1, number 3, that is just crime scene markings. And I think as you look at on the floor over here, these are blood stains. I could be wrong though. And it was here. So my understanding is that Tyler got out of his car, and that's when Gary attacked him. As you see, blood stains over there. More blood stains over there. Now we're going to go inside the kitchen. So I mentioned he was picking up a delivery, and that's why the delivery bag is empty. And I think that's puke from him. Maybe he was eating something, or whatever he ate earlier obviously came out. As you can see, the blood is over there. This is the crime scene tape. And this is a knife that I think was used to try and calm his wound, or calm the blood, or stop the flow of the blood, or whatever. As you can see, I think, I could be wrong, but this is puke. That's obviously scissors. That's his blood. That probably the hat he was wearing. So he was attacked, and maybe he just stumbled into the store, and the employees must have been like, oh my God, what is going on? You know, that's the police measuring the size of the wounds, of course. More blood spatter there. More blood spatter there. Now this is from the reverse angle. As you can see, the Domino's pizza bag, heat wave, where they deliver the pizzas, keep the pizzas warm. This over here are all I used to work in a Pizza Hut, so a lot of this, that was over 20 years ago, but a lot of this looks familiar to me. And these are all the boxes that come pre-packaged to make for the pizzas. And these are the bags, or the rack, where the pizzas are kept. And the driver comes, so he would have come inside, on any normal shift, he would have come inside, put the bag onto the rack, and then just waited for his next delivery. So I mentioned earlier that maybe the employees were trying to help him in terms of stopping the blood. And I think this must have been a first aid kit that they themselves were using before the ambulance and the police arrived. a standard first aid kit for sure. When I bought this apartment that I'm living in now, they gave me a first aid kit. Literally looks the same as that. This is another angle from the outside. So he would have been parked over here. Gary would have walked across over here and then attacked him. So these are photos of parked cars, and I believe police took them to check where these cars were at the time of the murder. Were they involved? Who knows? Because remember, at this time, the police do not have the murder weapon, right? There's no fingerprints or anything of that nature. There's no CCTV. And as I mentioned, it took them 2 years to actually find Gary, the details of which I'm going to come on to. So there's a footprint there, another footprint there, another footprint there, although that footprint and that footprint looks completely different, right? Yep. Another image of a car. That's the side image of his car. As you can see over here, there's blood over there, but there's also a footprint over here if you look closer, hence why the number 5. So as a customer, when you walk into the Domino's, this is what you would have seen. And the back over here, you see the door over here? That's where Gary probably walked in and fell to the floor. And on a side note, I actually think of all the pizza chains, Domino's is probably the best. Although I know that's not relevant at all in this case. So this is the image of the Domino's during the daytime. Again, it looks like your typical Domino's. And of course, the crime scene has now all been cleaned up, or the majority of the store has been cleaned up. And I think the police now are going to look for other evidence to see if there was any kind of other weapons. As you can see here, there's a crowbar, but that's probably for the staff. So this is a knife that police found, which I believe the employees said was unidentified. Like they don't know where this knife came from. Again, there's blood stains there, but this was not the murder weapon. Again, let me reiterate, the police never found the murder weapon. And if you stab someone the way Gary did, there'd be a lot more blood on the knife than what we can see over here. I think this was a knife that they were using in the store, and the blood, as he walked in, a tiny bit of blood must have fell on it or something. And also, when the police conducted DNA evidence, and when they took, swabs from the crime scene, they could not link it to Gary. These were the shoes I believe Tyler was wearing. And I think if you look at this footprint, and then if we go back to the footprint, one of the footprints in the on the ground, it matches Tyler's feet. So let me tell you what actually happened, right? Gary approaches Tyler. Now, he stole $80 from him, and he did it so he could buy cocaine. What's unknown is if this was just a random occurrence, or if it was a case of Tyler maybe owed him money. Throughout the case, it was unknown whether the two knew each other. Now, initially in 2012, they arrested Gary. I'm going to play you some of the audio interrogation for you now.
I came by, I was asking you, there was an incident that occurred at the Domino's not far from your house.
Yes,
A young boy was stabbed. Did you know about that?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you hear about it on the news?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The photo they showed on the news of the young boy that got stabbed, have you ever seen him before?
No, sir. I don't know.
Now that happened on the 24th, which was this past Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall that weekend?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you remember if you went anywhere during the night?
No, sir. I was here from about 9 o'clock and on to the next morning. I was right here.
Okay. So you were here at home.
Yes, sir. With my grandfather.
Okay. Did your grandfather know you were here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he was here at the same time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you heard anything that you believe to be the truth about what happened to him?
I really, be honest with you, I can't say because I wasn't around there. I don't know.
Okay.
And so many different people say a lot of things right here. You get through in the mix.
Okay.
If you get involved with a lot of gang member stuff and stuff like that, you get through in the mix. If you hate it around here and you do something like you're supposed to do, you get through in the mix.
Okay. And so I told you earlier that somebody had mentioned your name. Do you believe that's why your name was mentioned?
I believe my name was mentioned because I'm part of a gang, but I'm not longer affiliated. I'm in a gang, but I'm not, affiliated as far as doing stuff no more. I did nothing like no kind of anything to anybody or stuff like that.
What gang are you affiliated with?
I was affiliated with Gangster Disciples.
Okay.
GDs.
Do you know anything about that stabbing that occurred at Domino's?
No, sir. Nothing whatsoever. Remember what I seen on TV. Lady
right.
names. I know she was so strong.
And you say that you were here at home the entire time. Is that
yes,
true?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Mr. Harrison, did you stab that boy?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything else you think that's important for me to know?
I think you need me to know is what I do know is about this area here. There's a lot of stabbings from what the other policemen told me. There's a lot of breaking and stealing around here, a lot of shooting going on around here. And if you do something like talk to the police or provide information, you're considered, considered an outcast and a misfit.
The problem was, at this time, they did not have enough evidence to convict him, so they let him go. And the reason why they let him go, let me repeat it to you, I'll read this out to you. There was no forensic evidence to tie Harrison to the crime. The murder weapon was never found. DNA swabs of Hinkle's clothing and fingernails showed no trace of Harrison. However, Ashland Harrison, who is the brother of Gary, he was approached by the police. Now, when Gary stabbed Tyler, he ran to his father's house. Later, his brother Ashland asked him, "What happened? I've heard there was this murder, do you know?" And that's when Gary confessed to him. The only problem, Ashland himself was an 11-time convicted felon. He was actually awaiting sentencing himself for a theft charge. 11 felons. I don't even have 11 friends. Furthermore, and let me read this out to you because I think this puts a spanner in the works as well. Another reported eyewitness testified under similar circumstances. Jamil Tenon, who was 30 years old, he had 8 felony convictions and he himself was awaiting sentencing for violating probation. He testified that he was waiting in the Domino's parking lot to conduct a drug deal when he saw Harrison scuffle with Hinkle and then run past his vehicle. Now, Bridget Jensen, who was a state attorney, during the trial, he told the jury, "You may not like the character of these witnesses, but they're telling the truth." Either way, in 2014, when they gathered up all the evidence, so 2-3 years after the incident itself, Gary was sentenced to life in prison. Either he had a vendetta against Tyler for whatever reason, or Tyler was a case of wrong person at the wrong time. Comment, tell me what you think.